Thank you for tuning back in to part 2 of the Boston Philly Mob Connection with George and Dave. I hope you enjoyed the first part of the show. I think it'll come out excellent. We got a little more to talk about before we end this, and stay there.
So
I got to tell you a story. My father's crew made a score in New Hampshire. They robbed that guy for hundreds and hundreds of pounds of marijuana. The stuff was garbage. It ended up rotten, and we ended up getting rid of it.
yeah,
Not everything is a score, George.
yeah. See,
You know, it's just not. It's just not. If it's baby food, drugs, it's not a score.
so people don't realize that. They just think it's a constant flow of money, and it's not.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
Hey,
Get
Bob,
stuck with a lot of things.
what do you think about the stories we're hearing that some of the guys from down here have been up back in the Boston area, the Rhode Island area of late doing business? I mean, Sean Vitteri's out of jail.
Yeah.
He's on the street, not making
Yeah.
any accusations against him. There's no charges. There's no indictments. There's no anything. But, you know, the rumors are that they have been back up in the Boston area, Rhode Island area. Your thoughts about that?
Well, yeah, I heard some of those things. You know, myself, I'm out of that life. I don't pay attention. But stories come around, you know. Sean Vitteri, as far as I know, I think he's got a little company. I think he's doing his own thing right now.
Mm-hmm.
I know him, my cousins, they got a construction company. They're working. I don't know what's really out there for these guys to go get.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing, George. I don't know.
That's
You know what I mean, David?
yeah. That's part of the question. Here, Bobby, can these guys legitimize themselves? Can they just?
Well, let me tell you. Yeah, Noah, my cousins, Noah and Sean. Let me tell you something about Sean. Very sharp kid. You know, Sean made a lot of money for me, and he was over a few of my operations. You know, Sean's an earner, and he could do it illegally, and he could do it legally.
I guess
So
that's,
if Sean's doing something legally, I think he might be all right now. You know?
and that's what we're hearing about a lot of the guys down here, that they legitimize themselves, and they're just, you know, they're trying to make it work, such as it is.
Yeah.
Highly
Highly respected, by the way, Sean Vitteri down here. From everybody I talked to who's been around him, highly respected Sean down
Good
here.
kid.
And he
Well,
has
he's
paid,
a man now.
he's paid several visits down here for various things. I believe he came down here for 1 or 2 parties and things like that. And I will tell you, we have surveillance video of him coming and going from a couple of places with the guys. But highly respected from everybody I've ever talked to about the guy.
Yeah, yeah. I can believe that with Sean. I can believe that.
Let me ask you this question. You're a guy, you know, you've been around, your family's been around, historically, you're second, third generation. Young kids today, is there any future in that life, or is that over now?
No, I don't think there's any future in that.
The kids realize that?
I don't know. I mean, listen, you know, I got a lot of friends still in Boston. Guys that were loyal to me years ago, they still come around me. You know, they talk. And they tell me there's really nothing going on out there. You know, listen, the young guys coming up today, they don't want to be bookmakers and loan sharks. They want to be drug dealers. And that's not like Cosa Nostra.
Yeah.
It's a part of it, George. We can't deny that. We all did it, you know. But if you're going to go on the street today, what are you going to do? Sell drugs? Who needs La Cosa Nostra for that?
Yeah, yeah.
Hey,
You know
Bob,
what I mean?
when Ralph Natale got jammed up for drugs, in and around the time we're talking about there, what did you think of that when that went down? Here's allegedly the boss of the mob in Philadelphia getting all jammed up in a situation like that.
Yeah, I didn't know he was involved in that, Dave. You know, I didn't know it was involved until after the pinch.
Right.
You know, Georgie told me what was coming down. And believe it or not, I was locked up with his son-in-law's brother, one of his co-defendants. And he filled me in on a lot that they were doing, you know, with the drugs and everything.
Yeah, Bob, that's the point that you just made. Ralph was doing those drugs with a different unit. I mean, his son-in-law and different people, but not
Yeah.
Georgie and Joey and those guys. He was doing that on the side.
Yeah, he was.
But Ronnie,
Georgie Bigazzi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Ronnie Prairie was able to insinuate himself into that, but the other guys were not part of that.
No, they weren't. Georgie was really upset over this drug thing. You know, when I came into family, you know, I had loan shark and bookmaking, everything that we do, you know.
Right.
And Georgie was always on me with the drugs. I don't want you selling drugs. I'm telling you right now. Don't want you selling the drugs. Of course, we were all sneaking, doing whatever we wanted to do. I'm only going to listen so much, not to disrespect George, because I love him. I don't mean that, but we got to make money.
Yeah.
You know? And I know money was shot down in Philly, and Joey was hungry. And Ronnie took advantage of that.
Yeah.
Took advantage of all of it.
And it's
See, I could have stopped the whole thing.
Hmm.
I could have stopped that whole pitch with me. Because all I had to do, after Ronnie approached me with the drugs, I could have went to Georgie and said, hey, listen, looking for drugs. Would have killed her right there.
Yeah.
Would have killed her right there. But then how do I look to Joey? I'm Joey's capo.
Yeah.
How do I do that to Joey? I don't, you know.
Well,
We're men. We can't do that.
the irony is all of that was brought out in Joey's trial down here, and Joey beat that part of the case.
Yeah, but I didn't.
But yeah, I know. I mean, that's the irony, Morris.
Yeah.
McAllen testified down here. Ronnie Previty testified down here, and Joey beat that part of the case. Whereas you guys up in Boston, you got jammed up in the same thing. That's
Yeah,
one of the
we did.
Yeah.
And I went to trial twice.
Yeah.
You know, after I broke off with the guy, I went to trial twice and I lost on that same case.
Yeah.
You know, they found me guilty twice, Dave. There was no way out for that with me.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry.
Are you surprised? George and I have been doing a lot of reporting the last 2 months on this new indictment here in Philadelphia, which includes Steve Mazzone, Dominic Grandi, Sonny Mazzone, some other guys, Joey Electric. I don't know if you knew him, Joey Servideo from Newark.
No, I didn't know Joey Electric. No.
Okay, but are you surprised there's drug counts in that racketeering indictment? Are you surprised that in 2020, when the indictment came back in November, something like that is going on even today? Is that the only way they can make money? I will say this before you answer. Steve Mazzone and Sonny Mazzone are not charged in the drug counts, but Dominic Grandi, who's an up-and-comer and a capo, is.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to hear about Steven.
Yeah.
Another great guy, class act. His brother, nice people, you know. I'm happy to hear that. Listen, again, if I decided tomorrow to go back on the street, David, I'd have to put my drug thing back together. Where am I going to get money to loan shark, gambling? How am I going to back up my gambling operations if I don't have any money? It all came from the drugs. I had $1 million on the street in shy money to bookmakers and different people. I got this economy up here going again on the street when I was around in the 90s, you know? So, I mean, where do you go? Where do you turn to today? The sports, a lot of it's online now. You know, that's kind of a dying thing. Today, if you assault somebody because they owe you money, they're going to go to the cops.
Or they're going to have it on video.
Yeah. I mean, where do you turn? Where do you do this? Well, we got away in the 90s. In Boston and Philly was amazing, Dave. People were lying on the street in both places. And we all scared. We all survived it, you know? And how? You think Boston or Philly could turn back into the Wild West today, the way things are?
Mm.
I know it's a little wild down there, but not really with the Italians.
Yeah. Yeah.
500
you know what
murders
I mean?
last year, just so you know, down here. So it is wild. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, I know Philly's wild.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
watching the news. I know.
Bob, George brought it up just now, the video. There's so many cameras out there right now in so many locations. Could you even operate the way you guys used to operate in the 90s in 2020, 2021? Could you even do it given all that surveillance?
No, you know what's funny, because we talk about this. When I went away, Judge, I had a flip phone and a beeper, you know?
Yeah.
I came home to all this technology. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could take better pictures on my phone than $1,000 camera.
Yeah.
You got people, they see something on the street, they're snapping pictures, they're making videos. They're calling 911. It's not like before. The
Well-
neighborhoods, they kept their mouth shut. They were afraid. People aren't afraid anymore, David. They're not afraid.
But Bobby,
They'll call the law. Yeah.
but same token, what you're doing is another example of that. 20 years ago, guys wouldn't be doing this.
No, no.
You know, I mean, everybody's got social media now. Everybody's interacting with everybody, and I guess it's good. I don't know. I mean, there's no filter anymore. You just put it out there, and you certainly get to say what you want to say the way you want to say it. You don't have to worry about going through the media. I mean, we see Sammy Gravano, we see Franzese, we see you, Johnny A. Light. Everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
And let me ask you that. Why are you doing this? What's your goal for doing this?
You know, I have to be honest with you. I started doing videos, Christian videos down in Tennessee.
Right.
You know, I had a little station on there on YouTube, and I loved it, but there was no money in it. It was very costly, you know, and there was really no audience for that. You know, I enjoy doing these type of things. I enjoy talking about my past.
Right.
I'm not reliving it. I am who I am. I did what I did, but you know, I guess in a way, you know, it just keeps me in the loop of everything. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. No. There's something to be said for. It's almost a self-evaluation kind of thing. You're constantly talking about it and trying to better understand why you did what you did when you did it, and give a perspective. I can understand.
Yeah. You know, it's hard now being a Christian to think back of the things that I did and how evil I was and the callous that I had on my heart. I didn't care for nobody. I did what we did. We care about our kids, our mother and father, and who cares about anybody else?
Yeah.
Who cares? That's
Hey,
how
Bob,
we live.
can I ask you? I don't know how much you were around him. You may not have been around him at all, but the uncle, Joe Legambi, Georgie's uncle, George Borghese's uncle, he had quite a run here in Philadelphia. George will tell you until he retired last year, 20 years. They laid a glove on him one time and he beat the case. But 20 years, he got out of prison for a murder that got reversed on appeal, hit the streets. Well, Joey and the boys were all on trial, 2000, and had a nice run to 2020 almost, 2019, till he turned 80, had a little birthday party, and they retired him. What's your thoughts about a guy lasting 20 years at the top of a family like that in this time we're talking about here with surveillance cameras and surveillance equipment that the FBI has? They can put a recording device in an iWatch, a smart watch, a button, your eyeglasses that you're wearing right there. What's your thoughts of a guy having a 20-year run like that?
Well, when I first met Uncle Joe,
right,
he was a great guy, a great family, and he's an old school guy. He's an old school guy that is really not a spotlight guy, and I mean, you can't help the surveillance down in Philadelphia. I mean, I'd walk out of a restaurant, I have 4 cameras on me. It's bad. We know how Philly is. They got open surveillance down there. But if you're careful, you do the right thing. I'm not surprised that he lasted that long. I was following some cases and some things that he was going through. But a guy like that, well respected, I can see him lasting. It's guys like, say me, Joey, Georgie, they think that we're the violent ones. They think that we're the ones that are going to go out and do harm. It's like up in Boston now, the May guys that are up here, I don't even know the boss of the couples are up here anymore. But they're underground, they're being quiet. And that's like more or less how Joe Legambi was from what I saw. Old school guy, well respected among the crew. And that's the way you really have to be. It was all us young yahoos that they wanted, really.
Yeah, I mean, I had a guy tell me the idea is to make money, not headlines.
That's right.
Don't call attention to yourself, because nobody needs to know who you are. But things changed a lot. I mean, this whole idea of a celebrity gangster, the John Gotti syndrome, all of that. Look at me, I'm a gangster. It worked against a lot of people.
Yeah,
it worked. It made me hot right away.
Yeah,
I had one of my guys come up from Springfield. I'll tell you a story. There was a club up in Boston, the Benino. That's where I used to hang. 5-story club, beautiful up there. The guys were in there. They come up. I pull up on my car, 5 guys want to park it, open the doors, Bobby's here, the line opens up. You're like a movie star. And I started to like it, George. I'm not going to lie to you.
Sure.
When I was in the paper, I made sure I read the article. I wanted to know what they were saying about me. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I got to look. I'm over here on TV. Why am I here, George? What am I doing? You know? But young guys, we did like that. Did like that.
Yeah. So we're on that topic, the spotlight and the limelight and everything. We can't go away from Joey Merlino when you talk about that, Bob. Can't go away from it. Even now in Florida, on supervised release, going to be off in July.
Yeah.
He's being seen around town, expensive cars, expensive watches, not doing anything criminal, according to him, done with that life, ready to move on with legitimate things, stuff like that. You knew Joey for quite a bit of time. You were under Joey.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts about him then and now?
Well, I don't think Joey started out wanting to be a celebrity gangster. I have to be honest with you. You know, from some of the conversations and some of the things that I seen, that really wasn't his personality. You know, Joey was really a low-key guy in some ways. I mean, we all like to go out and party and drink, whatever, have fun, gourmets. We all did that, you know. But Joey wasn't that John Gotti type of putting a suit on every day and walking around with sneakers and jeans on and T-shirts. You know, what happened with Joey, they blew him up. Everybody blew him up. You know, I started reading the articles in the paper. He was a big thing down there. Here's a little family in Philadelphia. Now, I know one time a very, very powerful family, but now a little family, and he's still making headlines. He's charismatic. The people love him. And the camera just moved to him, you know? And I don't think he really started out like that, George. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
You would know better than me. You and
well,
Dave.
no, whether or not he wanted it, I think it happened. And
it happened to him,
He became the John Gotti of Passyunk Avenue, whether he wanted it or not. I mean, he was the face of the Philadelphia mob. And to this day, he still is. And I think he pays a price for that.
He does.
For that. Yeah.
He does. But it's not something that I think he wanted. I don't think he wanted that. You know, Joey was very comfortable being in South Philly, around his guys. Joey didn't want more than that. You know, he really didn't. One time we all went down to Florida, and he told me, he says, Bobby, I want to put a crew down here. And Sean Viteri had some friends down there. I really didn't have anybody, you know. But Joey always had his sight on Florida. He wanted to go down there. And I think it was to get out of the limelight of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Why else would he want to go there? You know?
He told me because you live longer. He said, you move to Florida, you relax, you get the good sun, the good weather, you live longer.
He's probably right.
Very practical.
This poor bastard couldn't relax if he wanted to.
Yeah. Hey, Bob, were you surprised to see him pop up in that New York case, the East Coast LCN case? I mean, he even made headlines in the Daily News and New York Post up in New York when he went up there and he was on trial there. You know, and a funny story, you talk about Georgie and Joey all the time and the loyalty. Yeah. George and I have reported on this. Georgie sat in lawyers' offices in Center City, Philadelphia with Joey before that case started and listened to all the tapes. So they could pick out the tapes that they wanted to play for the jury. Once the government played theirs, oh, yeah, we want you to listen to this.
Right.
And one of them is that famous story that made headlines all over about Joey talking about how you kill a guy. You get in the car with him, you get him to give you a ride home, you know, and you whack him and you get out of the car and you leave.
Right.
The rest of the tape is him saying, but I'd never do that. But they never played that, the government. But Georgie and Joey heard that. And had they gotten the opportunity, and George knows this, they would have played that part of the tape. So you talk about the loyalty right there. Georgie was like, George calls him the paralegal.
Oh, he was the paralegal in that case.
What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Well, it shows how far they go for each other and what they'll do for each other. Yeah. That loyalty that they have with each other. I was sick when I saw that Joey got pinched with that New York stuff. When I heard he was a Florida, I was happy for him. Yeah. You know? So maybe he's trying to do something different. Maybe he's trying to stay away, you know? But, you know, when that pinch come down, and again, look, it's all informants, Bo. He had all informants around. What was it, one or two? How many were in that case?
That was the Rubio was the key guy and all of that.
Right.
That'll,
Couple
that
other guys too. Yep.
and
But
put
he
in
was
all-
the main guy. Yep.
so
You know, listen, how many times did Joey have to learn? How many
Yeah.
times?
that's
They know, he knows. I don't care what anybody says. He's harder than the guys in New York. They want him bad. They're never going to give up on him. You know,
oh, yeah,
I'm not saying, become a priest, go to a convent. I'm not saying that, but really now I think it's time at our age. I'm 59 now. I think Joey was a year older than me.
no, he might be the same. He's
Oh,
late.
he was the same age.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's the same age. Yeah, I think Georgie and they were a little younger than us. I think,
Yeah.
But I mean, this is what, again, I seen this on the news. I was sick for him.
Yeah.
I was sick.
Yeah.
You escaped all these things, and now they got you on this bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a revolving door.
Yeah. Hey, Bob, can I ask you about cooperators? At
Yeah.
one point, you were in Fairton, were you not? Fairton Prison in South Jersey, in the WITSEC section?
Yes,
correct?
I was.
Roger Vella was there at the time. Tommy
No.
Scafidi was there at the time. Do you know who was in there with you when you were there, if you can say? And what did you think of those guys?
There was only 3 Philly guys with me. Tommy Horsehead was there.
Right.
Yeah, got nothing good to say about him.
Okay.
Another guy. Where would they give this kid a button from? But Tommy Horsehead. There was another guy, Phil, there, who was on some kind of drug case there.
Dennis Varelli, the chief.
Might be.
Yeah.
It might be, But no, Villa wasn't there when I was there. I think he was still in,
Fort Dix, maybe?
he was still in the state maybe at that time.
Okay.
That's when negotiations were breaking down with me and the government.
Yeah.
It got really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
did
then
you
they
ever
kicked
meet?
me out
you
of
ever
there and
meet-
they sent me to MCC New York.
Yeah. You ever meet Roger Vella at all on the street when he was?
Oh,
back
I
in
know
the 90s?
Roger. Oh, yeah.
Well, what's
Yeah, I
your
know Roger.
impressions of the guy? What were your impressions of him?
Honest, he's a jerk off. Roger Vella's a straight jerk off. I'm sorry. That's just,
No.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
you want an opinion from a wise guy? The kid's a jerk off. Boy.
That's why I asked.
I mean, I think it's indicative that even though he's cooperated all these years, they never made a major case built around anything he's told them. And I
No.
think they're afraid to put him on a witness stand. One, because I don't know if he would hold up, and two, because he's told so many various versions of events, versions of the truth that I don't think he would be a good witness.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I don't think so either. I used to laugh on the street with him. When I used to come down there, Roger was around. I loved his sister. She was nice. The sister was a nice girl, and I know he had a nice family down there, but Roger, to me, he's just a jerk off. That's all I can say about him. Nothing nice, And then he was making cases in Farrington against people. I hear everything, Real I don't want to say the words.
Yeah.
Is this, what else can we talk about?
There you go. Good stuff, though.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah,
I
listen,
mean,
we appreciate you having us on. I can tell you that for sure.
man, I've been dying to do the show with you guys. I mean, this is, I watch your show. I haven't been lately. I'm not gonna lie. I've been doing all of this.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is consuming a lot of my time,
Yeah, absolutely. I understand.
which I love. I mean, thank God for this. Don't get me wrong. I got something to do, But the way with the COVID and all this nonsense going on out there, I have emphysema. I'm afraid to be around people.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not going to look for another job, huh?
You got to be careful right now. You can't take any risks.
No, you can't. You can't. I mean, it's no good out there.
Yeah.
Now, Paul Tanzo, he was in my crew. He was straightened out with me, He's homesick now with his girl. Can't even get out of bed.
Yeah.
His head, his chest. Now I'm scared because we're together all the time,
A lot of
So,
guys getting out of prison because of the COVID situation in the prisons. They're going for
Yes,
compassionate release and they're getting out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll say from being in there for 14 years, Dave, they don't help you in there.
No.
You get the flu, you get a cold, you buy Tylenol if you can off the commissary. That's the best you could do for yourself.
Yeah.
I got sick many times in there, so I started taking the flu shot. I take that every year. I try to protect myself the best I can. But when you're in there, you're in a block, and an officer, a CO comes in with a common cold, everybody's getting it. Everybody's getting everything that's brought in there.
Yeah.
Another inmate comes from another institution, got the flu, half the joint's getting it. And this is what you got to put up with in there.
Yeah.
When I hear that they want to vaccinate all of them, I think they should. Honest with you.
Yeah.
You know?
Hmm.
But hey, listen, this was a great show. When are we going to do this again?
I'm sure things will come up that we will want to talk to you about again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assure you.
We need your expertise. We'd love to talk to you again.
Yeah, and I appreciate the invitation. I really do.
No, thank you, Bobby. We had a good time. It was good.
Guys, thank you so much for
All right.
coming on.
All right, Bob. Good to see you again, by the way.
Well,
All right. God bless, guys.
all right.
Thank you.
I'll be in touch.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Bo. Good night, Dave.
See ya.